Hello! There's lots to talk about tonight, so let's get started with my thoughts on the latest instalment of the Harry and Meghan show. Right, that's that done. Okay, not many people know, but until she met my dad and started producing a strong-willed and opinionated child every couple of years before calling it a day at 5, my dear mum was a nurse, climbing her way steadily up the ladder in the National Health Service, and a very good one at that by all accounts. She often kept her own counsel, but when she did get a word in edgeways, she was critical of the way the health service was managed, even in her day, as more and more of the decision-making was taken away from the frontline staff and handed to commissars and managers who had more interest in graphs and budgets than contact with and care for patients. I can hazard a guess as to what she would have thought about the nurses taking this strike action, but I can confidently predict what she would have thought had she seen the job advertisement from the Midland NHS Trust, which appeared online the same day the nurses downed their bandages, for a director of lived experience. Sorry, a director for lived experience. Poor me. On a six-figure salary, nonetheless. This modern trend of creating non-jobs like directing lived experience would have irritated someone to whom patients always came first. It makes my own blood boil, as it does so many around the country whose taxes prop up these ridiculous diversity placements, hired to daydream about something called lived experiences, whatever they are, and generally lays around getting in the way of people who have real jobs to do, at the cost of 40 million quid a year, or 1,200 nurses in old money. All in continued worship of the woke religion and its holy trinity of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or die, as I like to call it. A religion without redemption, repentance, or salvation, whose disciples are hell-bent on ruining our institutions in the name of progress and dismantling every single taboo they can before they shuffle off their mortal coil and hop off into the abyss. What is most troubling indeed, though, is the woke obsession with the hypersexualization and hyper-racialization of children. We've got the drag queen story hours, the family sex show, the how do I talk to my 5-year-old about race seminars, and the very sinister re-emergence of those talking openly about sexual attraction to children online. Minor attracted people, they call themselves these days, or paedophiles in old money. The destruction of childhood innocence is everywhere, and especially in our schools. In the local church primary school in Kent, Kevin and Nicola Watts found, as many are now finding, that their children are being indoctrinated by, and I quote, extreme teaching on gender identity without their consent in school. So-called teachers at these schools had shown young children a video about a book called It's Good to Be Yourself. And that now ever-present phrase, your gender identity may not match what people thought when you were born, rears its ugly head yet again. Biology be damned, the Watts' daughter was told. One must only follow the science, which follows the ideology. You may have been born female, with a vagina, but that is an illusion. You could be a boy. And if we tell you this often enough, then some kids, vulnerable, confused, body dysmorphic, autistic, may just take the bait and begin down that dark path towards irreversible mutilation. Some surgeon or other might just be willing to abandon the Hippocratic Oath for the tens of thousands of taxpayer pounds picked up for every one of these barbaric interventions. One wonders what the church has to say about this, and what the whole awkward, he made them male and female, bit of the Bible has to do with this. The response was, I have found no evidence whatsoever to suggest promotion of any particular ideology in this school, says Church of England spokesman, thin ostrich neck protruding from the sand. Even the church has taken the knee in supplication to the woke religion. So few seem to have the courage and common sense to stand up against this insanity. It's no wonder, as the consequences for non-compliance are, as I've explained and indeed personally experienced, dire. In Scotland, if you say you're a woman, you are a woman, in every sense nowadays, including biologically. Do you remember biology? That terrible science of the natural world and the human body? Another legacy of the white supremacy which needs obliterating from culture, along with empirical facts, free debate and simple truth, none of which are required in postmodern world where up is down, black is white, Christmas is the winter closure period, and if you dare question our moral supremacism, It is the woke hell of cancellation for you, you racist bigot. So I would say, in 2023, we all need to stand up and start calling this out for what it is. It's just evil, for our children's sakes and for the sakes of women's safety particularly. There is no denying that a tiny fraction of the population feel trapped in the wrong body, and for some extreme measures are the only solution to try and find peace from the disruption of their mind. They have every right to undergo such treatments, but they do so in the knowledge that their chances of feeling fulfilled after surgery remain as sadly low as they did before. And we should have compassion and love for them in what must be an impossibly difficult situation. But we must also stop schools from promoting or teaching the anti-science of irreversible medical treatments for children and young people whose still developing brains are more rightly concerned with what Santa is bringing them this year.